So Andy Klein and I are bringing another product to the market, and I'm so busy right now with other projects that I don't really have time to do the full sort of marketing push for this. So what you're seeing now is a very informal video where I want to show you how the product works. You could see if it's something that you'd be interested in, and then you have the opportunity to actually purchase it. It involves the planer, and it's called a planer bracket. That's kind of the working title for now. It's not very interesting, but it's what it is. It's a bracket. All right, so let's take a close look at the planer and show you what Andy was trying to address when he invented this thing. Now, anybody who's familiar with a standard floor standing planer like this, regardless of size, you're probably familiar with these rollers. Okay, so return rollers are there so that after you put something through the planer, you bring your workpiece back on top and you just kind of roll it back into position so you could pass it through one more time. The trick here, and what Andy was trying to solve, is a particular problem that this is really only about 12 to 14 inches. So if you're dealing with like a 6-8 foot board, it's very easy for that board to be front or back heavy and just fall. So he wanted to come up with some way that he could still use his rollers and then prevent this thing from tipping to make it a little bit easier to use. And as I saw the product, for me, the most advantageous thing was being able to have a platform up here. So in the past, I've taken just a piece of plywood and strapped it to my rollers under here, made that connection, and this actually gives me a nice wide platform that I could stack a whole bunch of smaller parts, and I'm able to kind of organize them as I'm doing my planing. Super helpful, but that completely eliminates the use of the rollers, right? And we do have one extra use case for this that I think you'll find interesting, but I'll show you that after the brackets are installed. Now with the brackets in place, they're still a little bit loose. I can move them. I just need these to be sort of in the same plane and level. So I'm just gonna put my platform board up here and look underneath and just make sure they're all sitting nice and snug and flush up against the bottom of this piece. And once I'm making good contact, I can then snug everything up. And now I'm just gonna take some screws and secure the platform to the brackets. So now, of course, I've got a really nice platform here. I could lay out all of my stock, keep myself organized if I'm planing a lot of different parts. But I still have the functionality of my rollers below. So now if you need to put a piece on top, you can do that, but you can also slide it through the bottom and you still have your rollers. But here's the cool thing, if you go, maybe you're a little overzealous and you push the board, the thing that would have normally caused it to tip before, we actually have built-in protection from this thing flipping forward. So, by just the length of this thing, it's holding the board in place and preventing it from tipping. So pretty cool stuff. Now, here's that one extra feature. People with small shops might be really interested in this. So if you're really pressed for space, you could put a benchtop tool on here. Think a chop saw, a grinder, of course something like a mortiser can go up here, and you still have the use of your rollers just like you did before. So kind of a cool option there for you. Now for me personally, I really just like the idea of using this platform for all of the material. In fact, I think it would be pretty cool to build a multi-stage platform, maybe something that's modular, so I have more than one level to play with. So I'd have my rollers, level 1 and level 2. So if I'm really trying to just organize all my parts as I'm trying to plane them, it'd be a pretty darn cool way to do it. And I'm even thinking, places with a pencil holder and stuff like that, you could really trick it out. So those are the planer brackets. Now, these brackets were designed in such a way that the size of the planer really doesn't matter. No matter how long those rollers are, these brackets will attach to the existing setup and just kind of offset themselves perfectly so that they provide enough distance for the rollers to do what they need to do. And we have tested them on a number of common floor standing brands, and they seem to sort of universally work. Where they won't work are in situations, probably oddball situations on floor standing planers, and as soon as we're aware of them, we'll certainly let you know. And also anything that's not a floor standing planer. So if you have a DeWalt planer or some other brand that's a tabletop version without rollers, this product will not work, okay? There's no way for us to adapt it to that system, all right? So let me show you what you get for your money here. So the kit comes with everything you need to attach these brackets. Of course, we have the brackets themselves. There's a left version and a right version, 2 of each. You have the bushings, the nuts, the washers, and the bolts. And this is really everything you're gonna need to put it together. Now, the introductory price is gonna be $29.99, and we don't have that many. I don't know how well this product is gonna do, so I didn't produce a ton of them. So if you're interested, I suggest you hop on it because they may not be there pretty soon. But ultimately, look, we know this is a very niche product. What's fun about doing this is the fact that Andy and I can sort of get together and look at what our needs are and say, man, it would be great if someone made a product like that, but it may not be worth it for other companies to do it. But for us, we can try things like this and experiment. So if you find it interesting and useful, go ahead and buy it. If you think it's silly and not worth spending the money on, then don't. You're not hurting our feelings, all right? So if you're interested, head to the Guild site. You'll find them right there with the Wood Whisperer thread taps, and you can pick up your set. All right? Thanks, everybody.